So I'm getting an issue that I've had before and I didn't think about because I'm silly goose. But for one, I'm going to move this pivot point down a little bit so that I have a little bit more leverage to get these up. But the second thing I need to do is track this line along the these bars a little bit better, because what is happening is they're warping when these are getting pulled down. That's going to be helped by moving this point down, and then like also instead of it being pulled down to the center and like warping this, it only has to pull down a little bit farther, and that should fix my issue. Get back here. So unfortunately though, I have all of the parts except the little bolts that hold all of the, like I have the pieces that help the wire or the line track, but I don't have the piece that, the bolt that bolts that piece to the frame. So I have to go to Ace, but they're closed. So I'm gonna do this instead. I'm gonna put some fabric on these and start getting them feathered, because that's a thing I can work on in the meantime. Hi guys, so I just wanted to show you the changes I made to the frame. As you probably saw in that last test, when this actuator was pulling straight on those lines in the test, the frame was warping to kind of try and go straight to from, you know, this point up here back down to here. So we don't want that. We want to shorten the distance between the first pivot, and we also want to track along here. It just looks better to begin with. So what I've done is I've tested this framework, and I'll include that video, but this works better if you track along. And it also works better if you have as many of these rotating pulleys as possible. I use the little wheels, like track wheels for sliding doors. You can get them at Ace, and you basically, I'm tracking down straight from this point to kind of get it, basically, the farther the distance, the greater your warp. So I'm trying to track it as quickly as possible into here. And then from here, I did have it, you can see, I do have another one here that kind of curled around, but then from this point to this point, it's really like yanking this plastic piece off anyway. Like it really wants to come from this point, and putting another piece there to get it, like it already kind of comes flat to here anyway. Like it doesn't, I wanted to get that, the line as close to this back brace as possible, but that's apparently not going to happen this time. If I had a little more time to play with it, I could figure out something a little bit stronger. These are, or maybe do another pulley or something. I don't know. In fact, I could have. I have a solution, but I don't have time to enact said solution, so frick it. But yeah, these plastic pieces, partially because it was 120 outside while I was testing this the first time. Like this one over here just like peeled right off, and this one is thinking about it, so I'm not going to do that. There's no reason to put them under that much stress. I may use this point to put in a pulley that will track it a little bit closer, but for now this works just fine and gets it pretty close, so bleh. So the next step is going to be to cover your pieces that are pivoting and to cover the part of your frame. If you want, usually people do the two-piece system that they slide over one another. With feathers it's hard, but it is doable. So just a quick note, I did add a hole farther down, and that's working a lot better. Basically reduces the moment arm that that actuator has to work against, and that the frame has to hold against. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover this in foam and felt. I want it bulked up a little bit at the top, but I can't bulk it too much since it still has to pivot, but we're going to bulk and feather and felt. So next step. Another thing you really want to make sure is that you need access, and you need safe access to all of this right here that's going to attach to the frame. You can cover everything else. This piece needs to stay open in a way that you can get in there and attach it to the frame. But you do also want to cover it with feathers. So what you're going to end up doing is you're going to create a little flap that goes over, that covers it with feathers, so that if you need to get in there and take the wings off or whatever, you can. But this system, you do have to have it like come through your foam and felt and everything, so that it can like attach to the frame through the feathers, and you're going to have to use the other side to artfully like kind of cover that area as well. So anyway, just to keep that in mind while you're doing this, don't just like cover it in felt and then you can't get to anything. guys, so I just wanted to go over some changes I've made off camera because I didn't know if they would work, but they did. So I made this out of a thinner aluminum than I wanted. One thing you can do is double up and bolt together the aluminum. Another thing, what I'm doing, because I think it's going to be a little bit more stable, is I've created basically a triangle, because triangles are stable. And this is basically, I had multiple of these to experiment with, and so I cut off the bars here, because at this point I've already padded this, so doubling it up was going to be a pain in the butt. But basically just created a triangle by bolting it here, and then it flattens out up here. And what that does is create a much more stable piece so that it's not warping when the wings go up. Hey patrons, so to review, these are the pivoting wings, and so just to give you one last look, put the battery pack, this will probably, it's meant to go through a belt loop or something. This is the battery pack and the control board, and then yeah, so the cord goes in underneath this sleeving, as you saw before. Tracks up and pivots along here, I think. Yeah. There it is. Line goes up in here, covered by a bunch of fluffies, and then pivot point is hidden by these feathers up here. So, yeah, and push the button. Track pulls down on the pulleys and the strings, and then the wings go up.